Now, if you've heard the introduction I made to the book of Revelations, you should realize that John clearly wrote that the prophecies would begin to be fulfilled in his day. And further confirmation was the fact that the messenger told John not to seal up the words he was given, for the time was at hand. Unlike Daniel's last prophecy in chapter 12, where Daniel was told to seal up the words because they were for the time of the end. So where did we get this idea that the entire book of Revelations was written only to the last generation in the last 7 to 3.5 years prior to the Messiah's return? We have to look back to the 16th century during the Protestant Reformation, which started by Martin Luther in 1517. The Protestants, after hundreds of years of being persecuted and martyred by the millions by the Catholic Church for their apostolic Torah observance of the seventh-day Sabbath and the feast of Passover, believed the papacy to be the whore of Babylon and all the popes down through history to be the Antichrist. To combat these Protestant beliefs, 2 Jesuit priests by the name of Ribera and Bellarmine in the late 16th century were the first among many to follow, who wrote and published commentaries to the book of Revelations and invented the theology called futurism, whereby in order to draw the attention off of the papacy as the mother of harlots mentioned in Revelation 17, placed the attention on a one-world Antichrist ruler that would come along in the last 7 years, who would try to set up his kingdom with the pre-trib rapture happening just before the last 3.5 years prior to the Great Tribulation. Ribera's work tried to shift the focus away from the papacy, but then he added insult to injury by taking the glory away from the fulfillment of Messiah in Daniel 9:27, where he changed the word confirm to make, saying that the Antichrist would make a covenant with the Jews that would be broken. The reference is actually to the Messiah who confirmed the covenant and then died for his people. These commentaries by these Jesuits were laughed at by the Protestants in their day. But ironically, 253 years later in 1838, Dr. Maitland discovered Ribera's work at Canterbury Church of England, and he decided to republish it. The errors of Ribera were circulated, and soon one of the leaders of the Plymouth Brethren in Ireland, John Nelson Darby, the father of dispensationalism, read them and published the work himself. And over the last 100 years, many Christians have become influenced by the lies of these Jesuit priests. Today, the situation is so bad that most Christians accept the futurist teachings without ever questioning where they originated from or what the Protestant reformers gave their lives to defend, the Torah. There is also evidence of Jesuit influence after the 1900s as they began to secretly infiltrate Protestant seminaries and teach their heresies, not only about the book of Revelations, but that the old covenants have been done away with, including the seventh-day Sabbath, the feast days in Leviticus 23, kosher, and the following of Yahuwah's Torah. It is also interesting to note that John never used the word Antichrist in the book of Revelations, but he used the word 4 times in his epistles and states that even then there were many Antichrist in the world. John states his definition of Antichrist is anyone who rejects Yeshua as coming from Elohim as the Messiah. Truly, time has become the greatest ally of deceit. I'm Bill Sanford, trying to put the book of Revelations in proper perspective in our day.